Yo. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to some, or good evening to others. I don't know. How you guys doing? What's going on? Smog, Adam.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
What's up? What's up?
Happy Rounding the Bases Saturday.
Yes, sir.
We ready?
We're ready.
What's up, chat? Who we got here? Who we got? Rodolfo. Resto. Energy, what's up, bro? Yo, congrats on 400, Energy. Congrats on 400. What's going on? Obviously there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to cover. If you missed it on Thursday, there were a couple SDS streams, so we're gonna be talking about that. We're gonna be talking about the changes for that are coming for MLB The Show 20. Legends, new legends, possible legends. So yeah, man, I'm excited.
Me too, man. Me too. Those streams got me hyped up. They got me really hyped up. I'm ready for 20. I'm ready.
I feel like more than like 90% of the community were like, okay, I'm ready for this.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm ready for this.
It was hype.
Yeah.
It was hype.
It was good. The second was kind of, I thought it was gonna be even like longer than that, but they they obviously talk all they needed to talk about. They touch all the right points on it, but let me see. All right, are we ready?
So we are, man. Let's do it.
Are we ready? All right, let's run the intro and let's go. Welcome. Episode 11 of Rounding the Bases, and I think this is a big one. This is the one that a lot of us have been waiting for. We're gonna be talking a little bit or a lot about MLB The Show 20, what we know, what we liked about it, what we didn't like maybe, and go from there. Let's start talking about the new legends. There were some new legends announced. So in the first stream, SDS had a stream at 11 a.m. Pacific, and then another one at 3 p.m. Pacific. The 11 a.m. was the defense one, and the 3 p.m. was the perfect one, right? Like the hitting engine and all that stuff. In the morning one, they just released a tease of a new legend, right? And I feel like everybody knew it was an Atlanta Brave. Everybody was on it. It's obviously a Brave. We talked about actually all three pitchers. We talked here, I think it was episode 8 or 9, that we actually mentioned Maddox, Smoltz, and Glavine to see who would be better, who would not. So on the afternoon stream, they actually released the new legend video, and it was all three of them, and I lost my mind. I know I did. What was your first thoughts when you saw that video?
Yeah, so growing up as a Marlin fan, man, those three tormented me when I was younger. But for some reason, I always felt like an attachment to those three because they were so great for so long together. So I actually really like Maddox, Smoltz, and Glavine. And I am super, super excited that they're bringing those three in the game and more 90s and 2000s legends.
Yeah, for me, I lived in Georgia at that time. I was going to school in Georgia, and so I was right around those games when those guys were pitching. And dude, it was a fun time, especially down there in Atlanta, to be a Braves fan. Obviously, I'm not a Braves fan. They didn't like me as a Yankees fan, but those three were everywhere, man. They were a dominant force. They were they dominated that league. and it was a fun time. So I have a real attachment to those three. I think it's going to be really exciting to see.
Yeah, I think for me, obviously I grew up playing baseball, and they were in the prime of their careers. Like the Braves won like 38 division titles where they were, leading that rotation. I really never liked Greg Maddux for some reason. I never really liked him. But I love John Smoltz.
What about him? What about did you?
I don't know. I think it was like my grandfather liked him so much that I was like, I'm just not gonna like him as much, I mean, funny. Technically that's how I became a Red Sox fan too. So I kind of went against it, but I knew how good it was. I never, just because I don't like a team or a player, that doesn't make me blind to what they're doing. And Maddux is an all-time great, obviously. First ballot Hall of Famer he was, and all that stuff. Now, what do you guys think about them in the game? Because my thing was, so obviously Maddux and Glavine, I mean, what was the fastball? 92, 93 at the most. Smoltz was a little bit of the power pitcher, right? But what do you guys think they're going to be in the game? Because I'm thinking like Smoltz may be the first guy ever to have 299s or 295 plus, right? So he's going to have a reliever. They hinted at it, and he's going to have a starter. Smoltz is one of the greatest postseason pitchers in the history of the game as well. So with Glavine and Maddux, I'm thinking like if they add that, Glavine should have a cutter. I'm not sure if Maddux is going to have one, but if they add a sinker to it, he can be kind of like an Hershiser. Obviously, the control for both is going to be out of this world. John Smoltz is going to be hitting his 96, 97, which was, obviously a big difference from 92, 93. But what are your thoughts in game with all those three players? For me, I'm going to rank them Smoltz, Maddux, Glavine. What do you guys got?
All right. So I was gonna rank them the same exact way until they started talking about that they're adding the primary pitches are gonna be like moving more for certain guys depending on like how nasty they were. Like they have like Chapman's 102 fastball and all that. So if they're gonna add that to the game, and Maddux two seam is all of a sudden moving this much, it's gonna be disgusting. And then he's gonna have 5 pitches with that control. All of a sudden, I think Maddux might be the best one out of all of them because you're not going to be able to miss a spot with him because he's going to really have. I mean, he should have the best control in the game.
Should have 125 out of 99.
He doesn't walk anybody. He doesn't walk anybody. So it's like if he has great control, 5 different pitches, and then like his primary pitch moves as much as it should, that 2-seam fastball, he could be dirty. And then obviously Smoltz, like I said, he's gonna I think his closer card may be better than starter, even though his starter should be good still. Also, it also depends on what pitches they give him. But Smoltz is gonna be good. I'm also interested because Glavine had the dirty changeup, so if that's his primary pitch, and they make him have a nasty changeup, he could be insane. So all three of them, I think, are gonna be really, really good into the game. Yeah,
Glavine may be kind of like a Johan Santana, like.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They like that extra addition of them giving the primary pitch and having more movement could be really, really good for so many players.
But the main reason, I think we can all agree, the main reason why they added that was for Mariano Rivera, right?
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little later for sure.
But Smog, what you got?
Yeah, I still think Smoltz is going to be a little bit better. I just think once you start getting up there past the 93, 94 mile an hour, that pitch, especially when you get on the higher difficulties, Hall of Fame and Legend, that ball just really comes in there. I think Smoltz is going to play a big part on the upper levels, but on the lower levels, I think it's going to be Maddux with that control. Maddux, he topped out, I think, early in his career at like 93, 94. By the end of his career, he was right around 86. So I imagine they're going to give him the high end of 93 for the card. And like Sam said, with that and the movement, it's going to be nasty.
I think that's what's going to make Maddux so good. Obviously, we don't know how the All-Star thing is going to be, if there's going to be All-Star in ranked season, if they're going to be, obviously they haven't touched on any of those. But that control that Maddux and Glavine both will have is going to be better than Smoltz. Smoltz is just going to have more of that power. But I can see all three of them being very good. The reason why I'm leaning towards Smoltz is because of his versatility. You'll be able to have him starting, as a starter, or maybe as a, in the relief as a closer. the guy it was nasty as a closer. That's the reason why he started throwing 99 after the Tommy John. He came back as a closer, started throwing 100. But there may be a reliever Smoltz that's gonna have a lot of stamina. That may be super valuable to have as well. We don't know.
It could be.
We don't know.
Really interesting to see his closing card. But like I said, like Maddox, his stamina is going to be insane. Like, I mean, he had a year where he had a 1.63 ERA. He threw 209 innings, walked 23 guys. 209 innings, walked 23 guys, and had 10 complete games. So his stamina is going to be high. His control is going to be as high as possible. And then he's going to have that type of movement on his pitches. I still think, like, look at Hershiser this year's game, the 92. He's nasty, right? The 92 overall, because he has that dirty sinker. Think about Maddox, like as the two seam being kind of like a sinker type pitch, and then having 4 more pitches with that type of control. He is going to be so. I'm telling you, he's going to be so nasty. He's going to be. Everybody's going to be using him.
And the thing is that I don't even know with Maddox. So the stamina, you talk about the stamina, but the guy used to throw complete game shutouts with 85 pitches. So it's not even about the stamina. It's just the per nines. Like you won't be able to square. You shouldn't be able to square a ball up against Maddox. You know. So even with perfect, which we'll get to, Maddox was never like nobody was able to square the ball
make
up.
No sense. 202 innings, 31 walks, and 4 homers.
They're ridiculous.
I mean, come on. He should be literally unhittable. He should be disgusting. I think he will be.
So if you're not following what is it, Pitching Ninja on Twitter, you should. First of all, the guy every day he focuses on a different pitcher. I think last week he actually focused on Maddox, and one of the quotes that Maddox said, like, if I'm up 0-2, the pressure's on him. Why am I trying to like throw balls? Why am I trying to throw like outside of the zone? Let him try to hit it. It's okay. And that's the reason why he didn't walk anybody. He didn't have like, there was a stat that with the 3-0 counts he had like 30 something of those in his career, and I don't know how many were intentional walks. Like the guy just could not throw a ball even if he tried to. Which is obviously this is gonna be a video game. It's gonna be a little bit different. But his control is going to be there. And, like you mentioned, our Hershiser, that's the one I'm kind of like comparing it to, or I'll put him in that level because of the sinker, the movement, the control. He's probably going to have a speed differential as well with that. So I'm excited for all three, honestly. Now
he's going to be so nasty.
Yeah, that helps so much the all-time Braves team, because that's our rotation right there. That's it.
It is.
That's it.
3 diamonds right there. Boom.
Yep. Easy. Now, they obviously mentioned that they're going to be adding more 90s and 2000 legends. And they started off with a bang, right? These are 3 that played in both decades, and well known, all 3 of them. Are you guys expecting anybody, any other big names? After this 3? Anybody that comes to mind?
I'm expecting a lot. I mean, they really said they're going to focus on 90s and 2000s legends, and I think some of your biggest ones are going to be coming back. I'd love to see A-Rod. I think he would really be the Hannes of
he'd be a nice collection reward.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's why. So when the video came out announcing the Mariano, Big Papi, Sheffield, Victorino, all those, my thought behind that was like, none of those are going to be the collection reward. You're not going to have a Big Papi or a Mariano as a collection reward. But I'm thinking like, well, they work at Fox, they work with A-Rod maybe. That's my vote as well. Now I don't know if what the deal with contracts, and if he's forgiven for what he did or whatever. But he would be such a nice addition. That is just, obviously that would be a big one. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm expecting another big name addition, but there's going to be some of those smaller names as well, and not smaller as in like John Smoltz, Maddox, and Glenn, because they're huge as well. But they're not the ones that you think about when you're thinking about like a collection reward, right? Like that's the first one you're going to think of, Willie Mays category.
Sure.
So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see. So next stream for them, it's going to be for San Diego Studio, is going to be on the 13th. and there's going to be more legends. So they said that on that, I think that one is going to be not rounding the bases, Road to the Show stream. But there will be an announcement. There will be a new legend announced, so that'll be interesting.
One second, just a little bit of breaking news. The Twins just pulled out of the Mookie Betts trade because they don't want to deal with what the Red Sox have been doing. Like this new Red Sox GM is kind of
shady.
Yeah, he's been real shady. And so he just backed out of the Twins just backed out of the trade.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Mookie is so mad right now.
I don't know what the hell is gonna happen with this and what this means to finish this Mookie Betts trade, but the Twins have pulled out of it. So that's pretty wild.
So
wild stuff.
What I read was that when, obviously they have to go through physicals and stuff. And the Twins prospect did pass the physical, but I guess there was some shoulder concerns that he wouldn't be able to be a starter. He was more of a reliever, and that wasn't the what they thought, I guess. But I'm thinking also, like, the Dodgers already traded Jock Peterson because they had Mookie, right? So what happens with that?
Bro, I do not. This could be nutty. This could be. I still think they get it done a different way, different team, whatever. Something else could happen, but it's just not going to be this pitcher. And Maeda ain't going to the Twins, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's another move.
You just gotta feel bad for all these players, man. Like this,
they have no idea where
the Red Sox GM is so shady. All of a sudden,
I feel like they realize that, hey, we're trading Mookie for I guess prospect, which played whatever 80 games, whatever he played this past year, but an MLB ready player and a pitching prospect for Mookie, arguably the second best player in the league. So it was like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Never mind.
Cold feet after agreeing on a trade, though.
They agreed and then they're backing out. Like he's been a reliever for the Twins for months. Like so you to act like you didn't know that he's not a starter. Like, come on now.
Well, but he played what, 9 games, or was it 9 innings? He was a reliever. Like, a lot of players start off as a reliever, but they're actually starters. Which actually, like somebody like Chapman started as a reliever, and he was supposed to be. He was a starter for the Cuban national team, and he was technically, that was the route that he was going to go to. But for the Reds were like, nah, he's more valuable for us in the pen.
100%.
And that's the reason with talking about Chapman, is that the Red Sox traded Mookie and they got whatever they got, right? Obviously, they wanted to trade Mookie to make sure they got something back. They wanted to get rid of Price contract, which they're actually absorbing half of it. But when they saw what they got, and they look back a couple of years back, and Chapman was traded to the Cubs and they got a number 1 prospect, that's more like it. You know what I mean? So it's like, you don't have to. That's what I was saying earlier. You don't have to trade Mookie right now. Mookie's value can actually go up in the middle of the season because there's going to be more teams involved in the playoff race. But we'll see what happens with that. I don't know. It's obviously not over.
I'm also curious because the players union was already mad that the Red Sox are holding it up. So I'm wondering if they won't have some type of grievance against the Red Sox for backing out of an agreed deal.
Oh, there's definitely gonna be backlash if it doesn't follow through. There still should be backlash because this is super shady. Like I said, the Twins are doing the right thing. They're trying to protect their players still. It's like, you can't just be doing this shit after you agree on a trade, like, right? It just doesn't happen like this.
And the thing is that out of the 3 teams, the team that was gonna back out was the Twins, because the Dodgers are not backing out from getting Mookie, and the Red Sox don't want to look worse than what they already look by backing up. You know what I mean? So the Twins are like, well, we're caught in the middle. We're out. We're done. We'll figure out later if we can.
It's gonna have I still think it gets done though, and they'll figure out another team, or they'll figure out something else. But this is so shady.
A different third team. But you know what? This offseason has been amazing, and it keeps getting better and better. It keeps getting better and better.
That is very true, man. It's been crazy. This baseball season has been nutty. Absolutely nutty, man.
David Price. That'd be great for them to get David Price back. He'd love it.
Okay, moving on. No, it's not. You know what? It was great for the Dodgers to get a David Price because he was going to be like their fourth or fifth starter. David Price as a fourth or fifth starter at $50 million a year, which is what was going to cost the Dodgers. That's actually good because Price wasn't horrible, right? He just wasn't a 1 or 2.
No, yeah, agreed. He was great before he got hurt.
Yeah.
He was really good last year.
Yeah, and I mean, for the championship, the clincher, he went what 7-8 innings against the Dodgers, and that was just a couple years removed from it. So as a fourth or fifth starter, he's gonna be fine. But you just don't pay $30+ million to a fourth or fifth starter, and that's why the Red Sox are trying to kind of like move on from him.
Yep, for sure.
Talking about moving on, let's move on to the defensive part of the MLB The Show 20. This had a lot of information. First of all, one of the first few things that they announced was the R3 option, which I love. If you're there, if you're playing, if you have a runner at scoring position, you want to see, or a man on third with less than 2 outs, you want to see if who's the outfielders, if you're gonna be able to test some arms, who you gonna, what you gotta know the game. Like, this is what I got from both of the streams. You gotta know baseball to be a better player. Obviously, there's gonna be user input, which we'll talk about, but you have to understand the game to be a better MLB The Show player. So this feature is gonna be if you push the R3 button, you're gonna be able to kind of like see the entire field with all the like arm accuracy, arm power, speed, all that. What are you guys' thoughts on that? And what was the first or the thing that you like the most as far as like the defensive changes that they announced?
The thing out of all the defensive changes that I liked the most was there's two big ones to me. One is they're adding obviously the more skill gap with having to get the perfect line for your relay throws or your throws home. I mean, we can all agree throwing home in every MLB The Show has been way too easy.
Yeah.
Like, literally, you get it on the green. You have this big of a line to get it on green. You get it on green, no matter where you are on that green line, it's a perfect throw home, right? So every single time, it's like the ball's to the outfield, you're not going to take a chance because he's going to get a perfect throw home. So now what they did, if you're off a little left or a little right, your throw will still be on line, but the tag might take a little longer, or it's just you might be able to beat that throw, right? Or obviously if you get a perfect throw, he'll be out. I really, really like that, first of all. Really like that. And obviously, second of all, the double play turns with the first baseman, incredible. The fact that they have a sense of urgency now to get these double plays and get back to the bag is great, because how many times this year did you have to get 4 or 5 outs in a game because those double plays to first base, he would lob it to second and the shortstop would lob it back and the pitcher wouldn't get there, all of those type of bad animations. And it looks like they really truly focus on that to get better animations now. So I'm super excited about those two things.
Yeah, and you know that after those animations, the home run was coming. Like, there was nothing you could have done either.
Every time.
Yep.
Smog.
Yeah, I like the like I said, I like those things. That skill gap feature is going to be amazing. I also like that the actual catchers are actually getting down the different blocking. That, again, they say blocking matters. We're going to see. But in those demos that did it, obviously you could actually see the actual animations of how those different catchers got down faster and blocked. The other thing is I think swipe tagging is amazing. And no longer do they have to catch the ball and then go into a common pose and then swipe. Like, it's just all one fluid motion. So like, it used to be like if you had somebody who was a 99, unless you were sidestepping or anything else like that, throwing them out was near impossible. Now, you hit that perfect throw, the swipe animation is going to be a lot faster. There's a couple of them that you'll actually watch and you'll be like, oh, I got him. And then it'll be like, oh yeah, he's safe. And you just don't know how. So it's that they stop, they catch the ball, they pause, and then they swipe. Now it's all going to be one fluid motion. So I think the combination of those things is going to be really exciting. It's going to change the games.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the times it happened that the ball was there first and he was still safe because of those bad animations and tagging, right?
So bad.
I can't wait to use Javi Baez and see if he has that World Baseball Classic tag.
Oh,
He
That
will.
would be-
He will.
that
He
would be-
definitely will.
If they
will.
added
He will.
to the Willie Mays animation over the
Yep.
shoulder center field catch, they're gonna have this one too. They showed it too. One big thing for me as well, talking about the catcher. So with the blocking animations, they mentioned this in the past, and it didn't work this year. So that's more for me. That's something that I have to see. I have to see it before I can actually believe it in it. But having that, we're going to be talking about perfect in the hitting, but this is perfect as far as throwing the ball as well. Like the catchers, there's going to be a perfect timing, right? Like this year, you knew that if you quick tap the base you're throwing it to, it was still going to be an accurate throw. Or if you had it on the green, no matter where, it was going to be kind of like all over the place. You had no idea. So now you're going to have more control or where that ball is going to be. So if you have it perfect, that throw is going to be perfect. If you have it on the green, but kind of like on the lower side, it may be a little left or it may be a little right, maybe a little higher. So I'm excited about that. Obviously, the same thing with the outfield throws. Like Adam mentioned, the throws were so overpowered. You could just throw anybody out. And, after a month or two into the game, you're going to have the best cards in the game, right? You're going to have players with 90 plus arm strength and all that stuff. So, they obviously there were great players with great arms, but not every throw was perfect. So having that user input is gonna be good for me. I say that I feel like I'm gonna be able to be more aggressive on the base pass. To kind of like put that pressure on my opponent. Make sure that it's important to hit that cutoff man, but to hit that cutoff man, you gotta hit that cutoff man perfect as well. So a man on first and that ball's hitting the gap. There's going to be a play at the plate. You need that perfect from the outfielder to the cutoff and from the cutoff to the catcher. That's going to be very interesting. Very, very interesting, especially without the throw cancellation. So another thing they announced was that, kind of like the first input that you use that's going to be the one, unless you throw it to a different base, you kind of like cancel it like that and then have to come back. It's going to be a mess. It's going to take us some time to get used to it. But you have to be good from the beginning. As soon as you hit that first throw, you have to hit it right on the dot.
Yeah, that's gonna be it's gonna take a lot of getting used to.
Yeah.
And but I like the change. I mean,
Yeah.
In every year's game, you can press that button 10 times until the guy gets to the ball to get it perfect, and then he just makes a throw, right? I mean, if you're an outfielder and the ball's in the gap, right, and you get it, and you look up and you're thinking you're gonna throw to second base all of a sudden, and all of a sudden the guy's throwing to third, right? You're gonna have to double pump again. You know what I'm saying? So this year they're kind of incorporating that real life feel to where when you get the ball, you have to know exactly where you want to throw the baseball, and you're gonna have to hope that you get a good throw on the line. I like that. I do like it. It's gonna, like I said, it's gonna take time to get used to, but I do like it. I do like it.
Yeah, and not only that, but also depending on the attributes of a player. So that green bar is gonna be bigger for somebody like, let's go to third base, right? Nolan Arenado there is going to have a bigger green, I guess, meter compared to somebody like Rafael Devers, right? So that's going to matter. Same with the outfielders as well. But I love it. I also love that they changed the speed of it. So it's going to be a lot quicker. The game's going to be faster as far as throwing the balls. So it's obviously they did mention that they changed it, that it's not going to be as fast as what it was on the beta, but it's still going to be faster than 19. So if you don't have a monitor, get you a monitor. It's going to help you. It's going to help you.
Get ready for the base running cheese. It's happening.
Oh yeah, it's only going to get worse, right? You would think it's going to get worse, but that's what I'm talking about, putting the pressure on your opponent, right? When you're going to be, you'll be able to be more aggressive, especially at the beginning of the game. Obviously, after the game comes out, like in June and July, people are going to be better at it. But those first few weeks or month, you'll be able to take some risk.
First month is gonna be fun to play, man. It's gonna be fun to play because whoever gets used to that fastest is gonna have such an advantage for the next month of the game. Because everyone else has got to catch on while you're already there. So if you can get used to that real quickly, you're gonna have a big time advantage be able to take extra bases or throwing guys out at home or whatever it is, right? You're gonna have a big time advantage.
Mm-hmm. And
Like I said, skill gap, man.
fact, and another thing that you're gonna have to use and take into consideration is the extreme catch indicator. So the new ECI, if you saw that they're gonna have like with the balls landing, there's gonna be either red or green. So as a player, you're gonna have to decide if you're gonna go for it, if you're gonna try to make a diving play. Like I like that we're gonna be able to have diving plays in 20 because basically they were non-existent in 19. So depending on the situation, like if you're up 6 and when you got, you're 2 outs and somebody's hit a blooper, you can play off that ball, allow the runner instead of like diving for it or going for it, right? But I think that's a good kind of like a good animation or a good it goes with skills gap as well, right? Because you're gonna have to use the timing. Timing's gonna matter. Obviously, the players that you're gonna have on the field is gonna matter. Defense, because of the jump. That's another thing that they covered. The jumping based on the attributes is gonna be different. The speed of the defenders are gonna matter as well. So maybe somebody like Griffin 19 is gonna be a lot better in 20 because with all these changes.
I love what they did with outfield, or at least what they talked about, right? The fact that they shouldn't get those bad animations where they have the glove out like that. That's the worst animation in the game because it's like, oh god, here comes another miss. But this time, what they did was they're just gonna have a better or worse jump on the ball, which they should. I know a lot of bad outfielders who just are bad at reading the ball off the bat, right? And it takes them an extra second to get that jump, just like they're trying to make in the game. So I hopefully they have a sense of urgency to get to the baseball. They're just slower. If that's all it is, where they're slower jumping off the ball and then they have to run to it, and then obviously from there it's all on us. But I would really like that. If there's those bad animations are gone, yes, please give it to me and give me a slower jump. That's definitely more realistic, and I'm happy about it.
Yep. I just hope that the jumps off the ball are consistent and not a random thing. Obviously, it's supposed to be based off the reaction, but I just hope that player gets those same type of reactions each time, and it's not like, oh, this time they did that left foot, then right foot, then broke type stuff. Because if it's RNG, that's going to go right back to the terrible fielding animations.
Yeah, and I think it also depends on the situation. Like, if the ball is hit, it's obviously in the gap. There's no reason why the outfielder should be taking a step in, right? But what they mentioned is that they're gonna be going in the right direction from the beginning, right? It's just gonna be a little bit different as far as like the jump. Some are gonna have a slower jump, which all of these is actually gonna help with the lineouts, and that's something that they mentioned. Not having all these great animations by the outfielders are gonna help with some of those balls hit in the gap being able to find some grass, or those bloop singles, right? So I feel like that's what's the rate were so high in 19 as well, and that's something that they're trying to cut down. On. Anything else defense related? Anything else defense related? You can think of.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
Oh, want to see we talked about it all?
Now.
Yeah, I think so.
The hitting. The perfect. Let's start first with the PCI. So there's a new PCI. There's gonna be 3 dots. And it's gonna be those 3 dots. From what I got, is that it's gonna be based on obviously the player, right? So if the top 2 dots if the top dot is bigger, that's gonna be more of a power hitter, more of a fly ball hitter. If the middle dot is the bigger one, is more of a line drive hitter, kind of like somewhere in between. I'm guessing somewhere like around the 70-80 power range. And then if the lower of those dots is the big one, it's going to be kind of like a contact swing or a contact hitter, I should say. What were you guys' thoughts on that wedge or on that PCI? And are you even going to use it?
Yeah, I like the new PCI change. At first, when they showed the look and it had the look, and then also on the outside, I'm kind of like, I don't really like this.
Yeah.
But they said as the pitch comes, the one outside the box goes away, and it just turns into basically like the wedge PCI. So I like that. But like I said, the biggest thing my favorite personal thing that they said for everything was the the customization of the PSI. You can change the PCI. You can change the color and all that. The transparency, though, the fact that forever, I always thought sometimes it'd be hard to see the pitch, right? That's why I always kept it high, right? To keep it out of the pitcher's hand so I can see the pitcher's hand better. And now the fact that I can maybe bring that down to 50%, and I still have the PCI there, but I can actually see the pitch better. I think that's going to be a huge change.
Yeah.
And again, another thing, whoever finds the PCI they like to use most right away could have a big advantage because people are going to be tinkering it and all this stuff. And once you find it and you get comfortable with that, you're going to be able to smash the baseball. I truly think this is going to help you. And I love the PCI changes. Love it.
Yeah, it's I'm the same way. Like that customization, like the biggest thing people didn't like on some people that didn't like wedge was obviously the dot in the center. To be able to bring down that transparency on that, as well as having able to change the colors, everything else like that, something that may stand out to you that really helps you cover the ball better. I think it's going to be a big improvement. Like you said, anybody who finds that PCI that you like with the 3 dots or whatever it is, I think the 3 dots is a little, I don't know, it's a little confusing just as far as which one are you supposed to be trying to square up.
Yeah.
But I think once people get the hang of it, it's going to be big. I think it'll be big.
Yeah, and I think the being able to change, to obviously customize your PCI is kind of like, it's more of a cool thing. The transparency is gonna be the big one as far as like into competitive, right? Because if the PCI is yellow or red, it really doesn't matter, right? But like Adam said, being able to make it a little bit clear, it's gonna be big. You're not, you're still gonna have a PCI, but you're still gonna be able to see the ball. I think that's huge. Kind of like what they said with the red dot. So it's kind of like, with the red dot in Call of Duty, for those people that play Call of Duty, you'll be able to kind of like edit it like that and use different options.
Exactly, man.
Which when they mentioned that, that's something that I've always thought, and I was actually talking to Reb a couple of weeks ago. If you guys, I think it will be so good, or I don't know, it will be interesting to see if they let us control the sensitivity of the PCI. Kind of like each player control it from 1 to 10. You're on your own kind of thing, but control it from 1 to 10, the PCI. Some people have problems jamming the PCI down. Maybe they can put it kind of like on a 3 or 10. But at the same time, they won't be able to catch up, to some fastballs, right? Do you guys think that's, first of all, a possibility in the future? Obviously not in 20. And if it is, would you guys like it?
I do think it's a possibility. The fact that they now added this customization, I think that may be next. Especially, like I said, they're trying to make it everything they've been talking about. It seems like they're trying to add skill gap, and I think the reason for that is because of the ESL tournaments, and they're going to add the Xbox and the Switch and all that, those new consoles. So they're trying to get their tournament and their esports game up, right? So anything that's going to incorporate more skill gap so they have better games for these tournaments, I think they're going to consider. And that could be a huge thing, man. Because think about, like, you watch people play any of these the shooting games and stuff like that. These guys have crazy sensitivities. And it's like me and you play that game. It's like, okay, we're a little bit slower, right? Because these guys do this every day. They're more advanced players, and they have better aim, right? So I think if they can incorporate that into the game, it would be huge for the esports scene. The fact that, like, you can say guys like Rip could have like 9 or 10, and they just have their PCI so fast, right? And then maybe just the lower skill players where they're just starting out, they have it on 3, so they don't jam it down like you said. I think that could be a big thing, and I'm gonna say that comes in the next 2 years. 2 years.
Yeah, I'm thinking 21 as well. I'm thinking 21
for the PS5, man. When the PS5 comes.
This is the first time they're messing with the PCI, right? Obviously, they gave us more options as far as like how it looks before, but now they're able to, we're able to change the colors to kind of like customize it to your own, I guess, liking. But I think that is the next step. There's nothing more to add as far as like the PCI is concerned. What do you think, Smaugh?
I agree with Samuel. I think it's coming, as well as, like I said, they've got it in Call of Duty. They've had it for years. And, your higher skill guys normally have a higher sensitivity because they're used to moving moving the control and the aimer where they need to go. I think it creates also another skill gap with able to move it. I wonder if you don't limit it though, based on the player. I mean, obviously, I don't know that you want to have a 50 common whipping around the PCI, able to get to anything and everything. But at the same time, it could just be preference, and what he hits is just based off of his contact. But I think it's going to be a big thing. And I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised it wasn't in just with the customization part. I think, but it's definitely coming in 21 because, like you said, the biggest thing is tournaments, ESL. I think they're really wanting to get into esports, and this is the perfect way to not only they're having all these defensive things that are changing. They're basically going to create skill gaps. Now you just create another skill gap on, you could have top players who use it at level 4. You could have top players who use it all the way maxed up at level 10. And it really just depends on it's a preference thing.
Yeah.
And you're just giving people more options to be better at the game.
So you'll be able to adjust to whatever you use, right? Like same thing with, you see some of the top players in COD that will play with sensitivity on 8 and others are playing with sensitivity on 3. Like it depends on your comfort level, I guess, when it comes to that. But I think that will be a good addition as well in the future. And I can see it happening as well. Now the reason why we're here, perfect. They talked about perfect. So let me read the stats first of all. These stats came with, they said over 6 million swings on the beta, right? So good. The batting average on good was 638. Good squared up, that batting average for good squared up is 747. And perfect batting average is 860. So obviously there's a lot less lineouts. There's a lot, the hitters getting more rewarded for the input, right? Perfect doesn't mean you're gonna be going, you're not gonna hit 1,000. But that's pretty close. That's close. Seeing those stats for me was like, this is so cool. This just shows again that they care, that they're listening, that they're working on it. Even good, even getting good, you're becoming a 630 hitter. You know how difficult that is? Obviously getting good is not easy. It's not easy to do. But there's a lot of goods that you could, that were lineouts this year, and they're starting to fall. So obviously you can see on the video that they had perfect was perfect ground ball, perfect line drive, and perfect fly ball. Obviously I'm guessing it depends on the player who you're gonna use it with and all that. Like if you get a perfect fly ball with somebody like Kenny Lofton, it may not be a home run, but it may be a gapper off the wall, right? With that, you could do the same swing with somebody like Bellinger, it may be a no doubter. But getting rewarded for me was the key. That's the first thing that I saw from this when they showed all those stats. What were you guys' thoughts when you saw the perfect explanation, stats, videos of it?
Well, first I like that the perfect that they said that only like 2% of the swings were perfect in the beta. I like that. It shouldn't be a crazy amount of swing where like everything's perfect. You literally have to be perfect both times, right? So I really like that. The good squared up should be rewarded. I mean, if you have good user input, right, and you hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, right, and you're good squared up, it shouldn't be 92 miles an hour, and it shouldn't be hit right at somebody 10 or 80% of the time, right? So the fact that you should be getting rewarded, like say a 747 average with good squared up, I like it a lot. Like you said, everyone obviously shouldn't be a hit. If I get good squared up and I hit to a double play, that happens. You see Stanton all of a sudden hit these 110, 112 mile an hour exit velos that are double plays, right? Because he just crushes it, but it's a perfect or a good squared up ground ball just right at him. That happens. But you still should get rewarded more times than not when you get those good swings, as they are in real life. And looking at the data that they provided, it looks like that should be happening. So, I like it.
Yeah, I think one of the things to take away too was those 6 million swings. People are basically using the best cards in the game, right? Because everybody you could open as many packs as you wanted. So I'm pretty sure everybody was pretty much using all diamonds, the top cards in the game. So I'm sure that has something to do with a little bit of the higher average. But like you said, only 2% of swings. This should be only 2%. There should be nobody in the game. Even the top end guys that should be doing, 15 to 20% of their swing should be getting perfect, because then nobody's going to touch them, right? It should be like you have to have the perfect. You got to have it lined up perfectly, and your timing has to be perfect. So two things that you got to get every single time. Less than 2% out of 6 million swings. Granted, your top end guys are going to have probably a little bit more on that stat wise, and that obviously is just because again the skill gap, right? Your guys like Pitching Rebel. I would be surprised if Pitching Rebel only can square up 2% of them. But I think it's going to be good because, like you said, the better hitters should be rewarded. Obviously, nobody wants to see 21-0 games all the time, but at the same time, nothing's more frustrating than squaring up a good pitch and and going right. You just less than an ideal situation. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a fun aspect to the game, and the fact that they're taking it into consideration, adding another level on top of the good squared. I think it just gives us more options to to be able to get that successful hit, and you get more chance to get rewarded for a really good swing.
Now, and I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate here. So yes, most people on the beta were using the best hitters, right? But they were also facing the best pitchers. So the best pitchers, that PCI is actually smaller as well. When you jump into ranked seasons as well, obviously we have to wait and see how, I guess, the content comes out. But you're gonna go to ranked seasons with your best players as well, right? So I mean, that's what we're gonna be playing with. We're gonna be after a few months, we're gonna be playing with God squads anyways. So seeing 2%, 2% I think is a good number. Obviously some players were, like you say, more in the 10 and 15% with a perfect, but even if the top players, let's say, get perfect on 5 or 10%, they want to be rewarded for good squared up as well. And you're seeing that even good and good squared up, you're not getting those lineouts. You're getting actually runners on base with that. So I think it's good overall that they're all finding grass. Those average are legit average. You know what I mean? It's not, good players are gonna be hitting 350 and 400 with their best players, right? But seeing that 632 at good, it's a good sign. It's a good sign. Obviously, we'll have to wait until March 13th and start playing the game and all that. But it's a good sign. Again, yes, it is with the best hitters, but you're facing the best the best pitchers as well. So it kind of evens out for me.
And another thing, go ahead, Small.
I just hope you just got to sit there and hope too that they don't tinker with the hitting aspect where the patch, because I think we all know that patch that changed hitting.
Yeah.
And you just don't want that to go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What I was gonna say was like what they showed with the videos that I liked was like you were saying earlier, where like Tim Anderson, a guy who's not really a home run hitter. Obviously he can hit homers, but he's more of a contact hitter, more of an average type of hitter. And when he was getting good squared up and perfect in the game, they weren't homers. They were just hard hit line drives, like gap shots or just balls that were line drives and just were singles. So I really like that aspect, because you can use guys this year. Like Mondesi had 50 something power, and he was hit tanks in BR, just absolute tanks.
No
right?
doubters.
And yeah. And no, it's all-star, but maybe that this year is going to be more gappers, as they should be, man. He's a doubles, triples type of hitter. He's not a home run hitter all the time, right? So the fact that these good swings aren't always going to result in more homers, I like that, because we don't want a home run derby. We want a baseball game, right? So these doubles, okay, maybe they're 2 out doubles. Instead of being homers, they're doubles, and now you have to get another good swing out of baseball to get to drive him in. So again, more skill gap, more user input, more baseball-like games. So I am all for that.
Oh yeah, and that just tells you also that contact hitters will have a place in the game as well, which is something that we liked in 19 compared to 18, right? Or maybe 17, that it was just home run or bust. So having those contact hitters is a good thing for the game, I think. Obviously, you're going to have some managerial skills to use as far as creating your lineup, because you're going to want some of those contact and speedsters. At least I would. So, knowing that contact hitters are gonna get rewarded as well. It's not gonna be just those Ichiro specials, bloopers over the third baseman. That they're gonna be able to find the gap if you actually squared it up or perfect. That's a plus for me.
Agreed.
Yep, absolutely. I'm excited, man. I wish it was March 13th already.
Yeah,
all right.
How much longer we got? We got a month.
Let's get through this Valentine's
It's like
crap
30
and let's
something
move
days,
it on.
right?
Yeah.
Valentine's crap and move it
Let's get through
on.
Valentine's crap. Closer we get to St. Patty's Day, the closer we are to baseball, boys.
Did you guys took some days off? Well, Adam, this is Adam's career, so Adam doesn't answer this question. But did you take some days off for that week, Smog?
Yeah, I will be. 100%. They may not know it yet, but it's 100%.
I opened my schedule up.
You wrote your schedule up? What's your schedule going to be?
I opened it up.
Oh,
I opened
God.
it up. Instead of going to the gym longer, I'm going to be streaming an extra hour,
Yeah.
Wow. You're going to get fat. Here we go. Fat Adam coming. Fat Adam incoming. Listen, it's going to be amazing. It looks like amazing changes. And even after the game comes out, that first week, that's not going to be the end product. The game is going to get better. If you guys remember when 19 first came out, there was a lot of issues. But like, it seems so far away, but we weren't even able to get under a routine fly ball, and they fixed that. There's going to be some glitches, but they're going to get fixed as well. So the games is only going to get better and better as the year goes on. But these are all good changes. I feel like, and I'm excited as well. Anything else you want to add as far as the hitting defense MLB The Show 20 before we start wrapping up episode 11?
I think we're good. I think we covered it.
Yeah, I think we've covered just about everything. I can't wait for it.
Yes. I think you're speaking for the entire community when you say that. Now, MLB The Show 19 is ending with the bang. There's some few tournaments coming up. So the firm is going to be running a $2,000 tournament that's going to be on the 16th. Make sure to check them out on Twitter, Firm Esports. They're going to be announcing, I think they're actually opening up the sign-up sheets today, if I'm not mistaken. So go check that out. Scuffy's tournament, Battle Royale Showdown. That's going to be a fun one as well. That's going to be on the 22nd. So the following weekend, there's some qualifiers that are being ran for that. That's going to be a 32-team tournament. So I think there's 16 qualifiers and 16 invitations. I'm actually running one of those qualifiers tomorrow at 10 a.m. So if you're interested in, we have some no-shows, which I'm sure we will be here on the stream for those. And then we have Adam. Moonshot Mafia from Adam against La Familia on the WrestleSubmania.
Let's go.
March 1st, the month that MLB The Show 20 comes out. We're going to try to end this with a bang. There's going to be a tournament there. There's going to be some good players. There's going to be some spots given away. So make sure to obviously follow us, Twitch, Twitter, all our social media. For if you're interested in joining those tournaments. I think right now, what's the price? First place is going to be $300 and second place is going to be $100. Am I right?
I want to. Is it that or is it 250-50? I think it actually, you might be right. I think it might be 300 100.
We added a little bit more, I think.
Yeah. I think it's it is 300 100.
We're going to be announcing some of the players that are already confirmed for that tournament coming up this week, right, Adam?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Adam may have like 2,500 subscribers. I have 100, but La Familia will show up. All right, we're not gonna go down without a fight. That's all I'm gonna say. You got something to say?
Man. It's gonna be a good tournament.
Oh,
we
it's
have
gonna be
some
amazing.
Really, really good players in there, and it's gonna be fun to commentate it too.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
Fun.
I can't wait to just hear you say "to the moon" in one of La Familia moonshots. Ooh.
What do you mean?
You gotta do it.
Yeah, maybe.
Stay tuned for that. And yeah, we already covered some of the Mookie thing. The Twins backed out. That's gonna be interesting. Let's see where that ends up. And yeah, any final thoughts?
No, I'm interested to see what's gonna happen with this Mookie Betts trade. I know it's gonna happen. I wonder if it's now just gonna be between the Red Sox and the Dodgers. Maybe the Dodgers give out another prospect that could be better than the Twins guy, so it could work out for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see that. I'm very excited for March 13th. Those two streams got me extremely hyped. Even though I'm already hyped, it got me more hyped. And yeah, man, I'm ready. I'm ready. Also, I'll be streaming at 6 o'clock tonight, guys.
Get ready.
$50 PSN or Amazon gift cards. Make sure you're in there. 3 out of the 4 are going to be sub only. So make sure you guys are ready for that tonight.
Oh, I'll be there. I'm winning one of those. Is Nightbot gonna be in charge of that?
Fine. That's me.
Oh, you're gonna go in and steal mine? Oh,
Yeah.
God. Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Well, this was episode 11. Do we want to wrap it up with the best players to wear number 11, or what?
Let's see. You do that?
Who comes to mind? For me, Edgar Martinez comes to mind, but I'm a little biased with my Puerto Rican heritage, so I go with Edgar Martinez. But the best players to wear 11.
Barry Larkin.
Barry Larkin's up there.
I loved Edgar Martinez, man. Just growing up, I don't know what it was. Maybe his swing was just so nice.
It was so
It felt
smooth.
man, it's just so smooth. I just was a huge Edgar fan, man. What about a card that I hope is in the game this coming up? Jimmy Rollins.
Ooh, Jimmy Rollins was a beast in MLB The Show 17. Switch hitter shortstop. That was a good card to use as well. His batting stance was kind of weird because the strike zone made it for like a weird angle, kind of like Aussie Albies slash. But yeah, he hit some tanks. He hit some tanks. Let's see, Luis Aparicio. He wore 11 for years.
What about a new champion, new World Series champion, Ryan Zimmerman for the Nationals?
Isn't he like he's the original National, right? Is he the only one that
he was the first pick for that franchise?
That was a good
15 years, man.
World Series.
15 years, finally got one.
That's pretty cool. There's not much more. Oh, Brett Garner.
You got Mr. Wiffle Bat himself, Luis. Can't even say his last name.
Aparicio. I got you.
Him. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're a team.
We're a team. I'm telling you, Wrestle Submania is gonna be amazing. I'm gonna be doing a lot of that. I'm gonna be doing a lot of helping Adam say names.
Yeah, how to say this man's name?
Luis Aparicio, Chuck Knobloch. Yeah, Chuck Knobloch and Brett Garner. Those are Yankee legends right there. Chuck Knobloch had some throwing issues, but other than that, he was okay.
Negative 22 to first base.
Negative 22 accuracy. Man's gonna throw it to the stands on a green.
Oh god.
He's like the kid from Sandlot that would just run the ball in.
Oh my goodness.
He needed it too. He did it.
Talk about the yips.
Yeah. Oh god, yes. Oh god, yes. Yo, let's go ahead and rate somebody. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Let me see something. Yeah, there we go. I appreciate you guys hanging out. We'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow for the qualifier for the Battle Royale Showdown. Samuel Adams will be streaming tonight, 6 p.m., a couple hours. And Smaugh, what you got going on?
Yeah, I'll be streaming later tonight, probably around 9-10 o'clock Eastern, and we'll go in late night, probably till about 2 a.m.
There you go. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. And let's go send you out over a raid and just make somebody's day if we can, right? Until next time.
Take care, guys.
Later.
I appreciate the follow too, my guy. Appreciate it.